People's reactions to immigration in South Africa. What is really happening? South Africa is once again at the center of a major national debate: immigration. In 2026, discussions around immigrants, refugees, undocumented foreign nationals, and new immigration policy reforms have intensified. Public opinion is divided. Political rhetoric is heating up. Civil society groups are responding strongly. And ordinary citizens are expressing frustration, concern, and sometimes solidarity. To understand the current reaction in South Africa, we need to look at three key areas: the proposed policy changes, political and grassroots reactions, and how communities are responding on the ground. Let's begin with the policy changes. The immigration reform debate. In late 2025 and early 2026, South Africa's Department of Home Affairs introduced a draft revised white paper on citizenship, immigration, and refugee protection. The reforms were presented by Home Affairs Minister Leon Schreiber under the government of Cyril Ramaphosa. The proposed changes include a stricter asylum system using a first safe country principle, a points-based visa system for skilled migrants, digital visa processing and border reforms, adjustments to citizenship pathways for children born to foreign nationals, stronger enforcement against undocumented migrants. The government says the goal is to modernize the system, reduce fraud, secure borders, and attract skilled workers while controlling illegal immigration. But as soon as the draft was published, public reactions began pouring in. Reaction Group 1: Support for stricter immigration control. A significant number of South Africans support tougher immigration laws. Their arguments are largely centered around economic pressure. South Africa has one of the highest unemployment rates in the world. Youth unemployment remains extremely high. Many citizens believe undocumented immigrants compete for scarce jobs, operate informal businesses without regulation, and increase pressure on public services like hospitals, schools, and housing. In some townships and informal settlements, residents say clinics are overcrowded. They claim housing backlogs are growing. They argue that law enforcement struggles to track undocumented residents. Groups like Operation Digila have gained attention for organizing protests, demanding that businesses hire South Africans first and that undocumented migrants be removed from certain areas. Supporters of tougher policies say South Africa cannot sustain uncontrolled migration. They argue that the state must prioritize its own citizens before extending services to non-citizens. On social media platforms, hashtags supporting border control and local employment quotas have trended repeatedly. For many in this group, the debate is not about xenophobia. It is about survival in a struggling economy. Reaction Group 2: Civil society and human rights concerns. On the other side of the debate are civil society groups, human rights lawyers, and activists. They warn that aggressive rhetoric and enforcement can easily turn into discrimination. Organizations representing refugees and asylum seekers argue that not all foreign nationals are undocumented. Many immigrants contribute to the economy. Refugees are protected under international law. Targeting entire communities creates division and violence. South Africa has a painful history of xenophobic violence, especially in 2008, 2015, and 2019. Many activists fear that political language linking immigrants to crime or unemployment could reignite tensions. Parliament has previously condemned vigilante-style actions by groups blocking migrants from accessing healthcare facilities. Human rights groups emphasize that the Constitution of South Africa protects basic human dignity for everyone within its borders, not only citizens. For them, the concern is that public anger could lead to unlawful discrimination. Political reactions and election strategy. Immigration has also become a political issue ahead of upcoming elections. Leaders such as Herman Mashaba have built strong campaigns around tackling illegal immigration. He has consistently argued that undocumented migrants undermine law and order and strain public resources. Supporters see this as strong leadership. Critics argue that politicians are using immigration to gain votes during economic hardship. Even within the ruling party, the African National Congress, there are differing tones. Some leaders call for balanced reform. Others emphasize enforcement. Political analysts note that immigration debates often increase when unemployment and crime rates dominate headlines. The question many observers are asking is immigration being used as a political tool? Or is this a genuine structural reform effort? Community-level sentiment. Beyond politics, everyday South Africans are expressing complex emotions. In urban areas like Johannesburg and Durban, business owners say immigrant entrepreneurs are highly competitive in the informal sector. Some local shop owners complain about price undercutting. At the same time, others point out that immigrant-run shops often operate long hours, provide affordable goods, and create supply chains that benefit communities. In rural and peri-urban areas, frustrations are often linked to service delivery problems that may not directly relate to immigration but become associated with it. Online discussions reveal a divided nation. Some argue that borders must be secured urgently. Others say immigrants are being unfairly blamed for deeper structural failures. Many ordinary citizens say they simply want clarity, order, and fairness. It is important to note that public opinion is not uniform. It varies by region, economic status, and personal experience. The international dimension. The immigration debate has also gained international attention. Controversies involving refugee narratives abroad, including discussions in the United States about South African minorities, have triggered diplomatic responses from the South African government. President Cyril Ramaphosa has rejected claims that South Africa systematically targets specific racial groups and has defended the country's constitutional framework. International scrutiny sometimes amplifies domestic tension. Many South Africans feel external narratives misrepresent their country. The core issues driving public reaction. To truly understand the reaction, we must identify the root causes. Economic hardship, high unemployment, crime perception, service delivery failures, weak border management, political messaging. When citizens feel insecure economically, immigration becomes a visible and emotional topic. However, experts argue that structural economic challenges predate recent migration waves. This means immigration may be part of the pressure, but not the sole cause. What happens next? The draft white paper is still under public consultation. If adopted into law, it could reshape how South Africa handles asylum applications, skilled migration, border enforcement, citizenship rules, deportation processes. Public submissions and parliamentary debates will determine the final direction. What remains clear is that immigration will remain a defining issue in South African politics and society in 2026. Conclusion. South Africa is experiencing a serious and emotional debate about immigration. There are citizens calling for stricter control and enforcement. Immigration is no longer just a policy discussion. It is a reflection of broader societal tension, and how it is handled will shape the country's future.